This was my number one takeaway from doing an entire year with no alcohol. Now, there were a million different takeaways. I've made different videos on my channel about the different takeaways, but this one I'm about to divulge in this video is definitely the most important one. And I think it's actually very enlightening, whether you are somebody that drinks alcohol or not. The sort of six-pronged thing that I'm gonna go over right here is the absolute truth. This is how to maximize your fun when going out or being social, whether you are gonna partake in drinking alcohol or whether you are not going to, okay? And here it is right here. There are essentially, what I found, there are essentially 6 different factors that contribute to how much fun or how much fulfillment or enjoyment that you get out of a social interaction, okay? There's 6 factors that I could come up with off of the top of my head. We'll call them 6 different buckets, okay? The first bucket is the vibe or the ambiance, right? Like the overall kind of like, what's the vibe? What's going on? Is it nice? Are we in a nice environment? Is it kind of weird? Is it grungy? Like, what's the ambience? What's the vibe? Because that can very much contribute, right? The second bucket is who you're with, okay? Very important. Are you with your best friends in the whole wide world, the people who you call your brothers or your sisters, or maybe they are your brothers and your sisters, or your family and you love them, or are you with some people that you don't really know or that you just met, right? Big difference there. The third is activity. What is it that you're doing? Are you just sitting around a table drinking, playing cards maybe? Or are you out and about? Are you playing a sport? Are you at a concert, rave, whatever the case may be? The fourth is the music. What kind of music are you listening to? Typically in a social environment, there's some sort of music. Maybe it's more low key and it's just some sort of background noise, or maybe it's more like it's the main thing. You're at a concert, you're at a music festival, you're at a rave, whatever the case may be. Fifth is gonna be the weather, okay? If you sit here and tell me that the weather doesn't have an effect on your mood and your enjoyment, like, you're just crazy. It definitely does. A sunny day, blue sky, not too hot, is always gonna be better than pissing down rain and gray and gloomy. Like, it's just, there's no question, okay? This 6, and there's an important piece of why I left number 6, the last one, as being alcohol, right? Like how drunk you actually are, or like the level of intoxication. You know, obviously sometimes too little doesn't really help you that much, doesn't really do anything. And obviously we all know too much can be a huge detriment and can totally ruin things, right? So you have these 6 buckets. Sorry, I'm about to leave my house, go play dodgeball, so I'm drinking a smoothie. You have these 6 buckets, right? And I used to think that alcohol played a bigger role than it actually does. But in reality, you have these 6 buckets. And if every single bucket is full, but you're sober, you're not drinking alcohol, it doesn't fucking matter. You are going to have a great time. You are going to have a blast. You don't need alcohol. You're with your best friends. You're seeing your favorite person live in concert. The vibes are super high. You know, the weather is great. Like, you don't need booze. You don't need drugs. You don't need booze. Like, you will have a great time. But if you are in a scenario where you are, let's say your alcohol bucket is totally full, not in the sense that you're too fucked up, but it's perfectly full. You're at the perfect level of drunk. You're just intoxicated enough to where everything's great. You're vibing, you're dancing, you're silly, whatever, like things are good. But if some of those other buckets are missing, not with the right people, it's dark and gloomy, you're listening to decent music, but it's not really your favorite, it's not really your vibe, you are not gonna have fun. Or you're not gonna have nearly as much fun as you could be having. And this was a huge epiphany, and maybe when you're hearing me break this down, you're thinking like, oh yeah, duh, like, I knew that, like, of course, like, those factors are important, but it's like, did you really think about it though? And there's 2 levels of understanding I always talk about on this channel, which is the one is where you can listen to me yap about this, and you can understand on a contextual level. You're just like, yeah, you know, I understand that. That makes sense. I get it. Like, it's resonating. That makes sense to me. The second level of understanding is typically when you experience the thing firsthand, and it's like, oh, I get it now. Holy shit. This is the second level of understanding that took me an entire year of no drinking to decipher and to understand. And so it just goes to show that you need all of the factors to be on to have the best night of your life, right? Like if you have all 5 of those things and you take out the alcohol piece, you're still gonna have fun. You're still gonna have a blast. But if you also fill up the alcohol bucket along with the other 5 things, that is a perfect recipe for the best night of your life or one of the best days, outings, concerts, events, etc. Like it's just everything's gonna be hitting and it's gonna be great, right? There's probably also another piece, actually, now that I'm talking about this, that I didn't write down here, which is probably like the romantic, like it kind of goes along with like the who you're with piece, but like a subsection of that would be like romantic partner, if that's in there, right? Like maybe you're in an amazing point in your relationship and you're with your significant other and that's awesome. Or maybe you're a single guy and like you met an amazing girl that you're out hanging out with or at the concert and you guys are vibing and you're kissing or whatever, and that adds to the experience, right? So that's like another element or like a sub element of that. But I used to think that alcohol played way more of a factor, and in reality I realized it's just 1/6. It's just 1/6 of the entire pie. It's really not that important. The other things are weighted so much more, and I think that's been one of the biggest things. And so like a takeaway that you can take from this is that if you are going to be, sober curious and maybe you don't drink alcohol and you're going to be going out and socializing without that, make fucking sure that you are doing everything that you can to dial in all of the other buckets so that you can have as much fun as possible. That's the takeaway. That's what I love. You don't need alcohol, although I love getting drunk and I love having fun and I love letting loose, and I will never be ashamed of admitting that. It's not the most important thing, but it can be a cherry on top, and so long as everything is in place, it can be a recipe for one of the best nights or days of your life. What do you think? Do you agree? Have you experienced this firsthand? Join the friggin' conversation down below and smash that like button if you like it. Subscribe to the channel, follow along the journey. Thanks for watching. Cheers.